And Jill wasn't the only Democrat getting called out. Spencer Pratt doubled down on his campaign to become the next mayor of Los Angeles, telling Fox and Friends on Thursday that frustrated voters from all across the political spectrum are rallying behind his message of addressing the real issues like public safety, reform for homelessness policies that are not working, and accountability for the government that is there to serve the people. Basically, regardless of political party, most people are tired of being fed flowery words that only result in catastrophic outcomes. They want results. And many of them are ready to vote for anyone who will give them said results. And many are ready to vote out anyone who won't. And both parties should take note of that reality. Mr. Pratt has surged into the national spotlight in his local race as a long-shot challenger to the current disastrous mayor, Karen Bass. Mr. Pratt believes that his campaign is resonating precisely because he refuses to engage in partisan politics, and instead he focuses on the city's basic failures, the ones that everyone is sick of living with. During his interview, he clearly stated, "I don't do national politics. I don't do parties. I just say, look, they're stealing all of our tax money to give it to drug addicts, to have needles and tourniquets. And they're actually even selling the drugs to these addicts to let people die on our sidewalks." Mr. Pratt claimed that the voters are increasingly gravitating towards him as an outsider because the residents of LA have lost faith in the city's legacy leadership after years of seeing things significantly worsen on multiple fronts under their approach, from homelessness to crime and public disorder, saying they spent all of our tax money to increase problems. People want an outsider that's not a politician, that's just saying the facts, the truth. These people have failed us. Like his support, Mr. Pratt's fundraising has also surged after his performance in the recent mayoral debate. He said, "People forget. Over 50,000 people a year leave Los Angeles because it's so terrible. These are actually former Angelenos that got forced out of this city that Mayor Bass has destroyed. And that's why they're donating, because they want me to be mayor so they can move back." Mr. Pratt is registered as a Republican, but he has repeatedly emphasized that his support is largely coming from Democrats that are fed up and angry with the city's current blind, stubborn, result-ignoring direction, pointing out that Democrats are very angry with what happened to Los Angeles. They were fed a bunch of lies by Mayor Bass, who said she was going to literally solve homelessness. It's a nonpartisan race. There's no letter next to either of our names because the mayor is not supposed to represent a party. They're supposed to make sure your moms are safe, your houses don't burn down, and your tax money is going to your infrastructure, not to fund drug addicts. Mr. Pratt is hoping to avoid a runoff altogether, saying, "I have a feeling God wants me to just win with 51% on June 2nd and it's over." To this end, he is urging his supporters to actually get out and vote, not to just vent online, arguing that low voter turnout is exactly what has helped to perpetuate decades of failed leadership in Los Angeles. But giving up means that this will be your fate. Mr. Pratt and his parents both lost their homes in the devastating LA fires, along with thousands of others. During this week's interview, Mr. Pratt blamed Karen Bass and California's leadership for the city's non-existent rebuilding in the year and a half since then, and he painted a very grim picture of the recovery efforts in Pacific Palisades, saying, "The reality is a lot of these people now don't get to come back because of Mayor Bass. Out of 7,000 people, maybe 600 houses are in the works. And in over 18 months, maybe 9 houses have been built." He also took direct aim at LA's socialist council member, Nithya Raman, accusing both her and Bass of allowing homelessness and drug abuse to spiral out of control, while dismissing the legitimate concerns of parents about encampments of high addicts near schools. He rightly pointed out the drug addicts that are attacking moms, that are naked in front of kids. That is on her and Mayor Bass. While Mr. Pratt remains one of the most unconventional and frankly fun political figures out there right now, his blunt rhetoric as an outsider is also apparently gaining traction in a frustrated city that is drowning in surging crime, surging homelessness, and surging costs of living. It's not working, people. Change course. So, with her own outcomes pulling her under, Karen Bass decided to try and put Spencer Pratt down for being a former reality TV star. But that prompted a true scandal in which Mr. Pratt brought out the receipts. He fired back by publicly posting a Los Angeles Times article from decades ago that referred to Bass by name, traveling to Cuba in the 1970s as a part of the Venceremos Brigade, which is a communist activist group that was identified in intelligence documents as allegedly teaching terrorist tactics and guerrilla warfare to Americans. Mr. Pratt posted this Times article, along with a reasonable statement that read, "When I was in my 20s, I was on a TV show. When Karen Bass was in her 20s, she was training in terrorist tactics and guerrilla warfare with communists in Cuba, back when the LA Times was still in LA and used to tell the truth." End quote. The Los Angeles Times article from 1983 stated clearly that Bass had traveled to Cuba with the 6th contingent of the Venceremos Brigade. It also reported that a 1973 intelligence document had described that very brigade as a group that trains revolutionary-prone Americans in terrorist tactics and guerrilla warfare while claiming to harvest sugarcane. The Times article also reported that Bass was a brigade leader who returned from Cuba to the USA bringing back propaganda literature. Bass denied all of this at the time, claiming her trips with the brigade were educational. Is that what you call it? Having started the online brawl, Bass definitely caught the worst of it, as Mr. Pratt's post spread across social media like one of Bass's wildfires. Critics accused Bass and her allies of trying to reduce Pratt to a punchline while simultaneously treating her own shady political history with bubble-wrapped kid gloves. After Bass was endorsed by California's equally disastrous Democrat governor, Gavin Newsom, Mr. Pratt told Fox that it's not shocking because they're alleged criminal partners. They're both complicit in laundering $24 billion to actually increase homelessness. Facts. Pratt also pointed out that the residents of Los Angeles have eyes, and each of them can clearly see the conditions getting worse, despite years of record spending coming out of their pocket. Spending that was extorted by pretty, yet empty, promises from their state leaders, saying Anybody with eyeballs in the state of California or Los Angeles knows that there has not been a reduction in one homeless person. Actually, there's been an increase of naked drug addict zombies in front of every kid's playground, every kid's school, every coffee shop. Game, set, match, Pratt.